Welcome to another episode of Talking Ball with Pat Leonard. This is First Down with Benny Fowler, a weekly recap of NFL action with a Super Bowl champion, former NFL wide receiver. We're going to go over it all from the Giants drama to the Lions blowout of the Jaguars and what it means for both teams. What is going on with those Denver Broncos, despair in Dallas, and much, much more. Brought to you here by MyBookie, which is rolling out the red carpet for sports bettors this football season, including risk-free Thursdays and a special promo code Pat's Picks at the link in all my social media profiles. Use the promo code on your first deposit and get a 100% match on your first deposit of $50 or more, all the way up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip. Look for my Pat's Picks every week on social media and keep winning this football season with MyBookie. Also brought to you by Boom Chaga Mushroom Super Drink, a natural extract loaded with anti-inflammatory, immune-boosting antioxidants, and heart-healthy compounds. You can easily pour this natural liquid supplement into any of your favorite drinks. I put mine in my coffee every morning and immediately feel the difference. I personally have felt a post-workout-like energy boost with Boom. Chaga also has the ability to lower cholesterol, reduce inflammation, and improve immune and heart health with its beta-glucans and antioxidants. Go to boomchaga.com today to place your first order. And if you use the discount code TalkingBall25 or access it through the QR code on your screen, you'll get 25% off your first subscribe and save order. Right now, that means a month's supply cost you only $30. Start feeling the difference today at boomchaga.com. And brought to you here by Estate 98 Coffee, a specialty coffee concentrate, perfect for when you want to make a quick cup of coffee and skip the lines. Takes me less than 10 seconds to make a delicious Estate 98 iced or hot coffee. It's great as a mixer for espresso martinis, and each bottle can make up to 16 cups. Go to estate98.com/talkingball to get an exclusive offer for 80% off your first order. And now on to our interview with Benny Fowler, Super Bowl 50 champion, former NFL wide receiver. All right, another episode of Talking Ball with Pat Leonard. First Down with Benny Fowler. Week 11, talking with a Super Bowl champion, former NFL wide receiver. Benny, I want to get right into it. I'm really loving the Detroit Lions, not only as a team that has asserted themselves as a Super Bowl favorite, really, at this point, but what I love about Week 11, what they did here, Benny, is I feel like the world's gone soft. When you start running up the score, people say, let up, take your players out, all that stuff. 52-6. I am all over Dan Campbell, leaving guys in, running up the score, say, stop it if you can. If you can't, get out of the way. We're going to set some records. As a player on either side of that, do you like seeing that? Is that too much? Is that overdoing it for a team? Or is it kind of like, hey, this is a competitive sport. Stop it if you want.
No, it's a competitive sport. We're playing at the highest level. The NFL is the highest level in terms of football. So do I like it? Yes and no. If I like it, I like it if I'm on the Lions, and you're getting a chance to get your stats and you're getting a chance to, continue to work and put things on tape that other teams are going to have to stop down the road. It reminds me of some of those Patriots games, where they would beat teams in a division, 53-6. I don't know when that was. It might have been the Lions on Thanksgiving Day when Brady hung up 50 on them.
Oh,
Or one of the crazy snow games where
I was just going to say
50 points.
I was just going to say there was a snow game against the Titans. I remember very well was one of those.
It's like 53-6. So when you think about that, the dominant performances like that, Detroit is a team to reckon with, and definitely number one in my power rankings now for sure. Detroit Lions, they're beating teams how they're supposed to beat them. If they know that they're better, they are beating them, and they are beating them handily. And it's just something it's just super impressive, especially because, the NFL is usually a week-to-week league. And for them, they've been dominant every week after week 2. So it's been incredible to see. I know my mom is extremely happy. She is a diehard Lions fan. So
wow.
I know she's really happy, and, she's just counting the games down. Hopefully they get to the Super Bowl for her sake. That's what she wants to see.
Yes, let's get it done for her. Yeah, how the fortunes have turned for that
right.
franchise and that city in football, for how long they were so not only bad, but worst team in the league, irrelevant level, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool to see. One question about that, I know, everyone wants to nitpick whatever, but it's always been a question. Like I remember when Rob Gronkowski broke his arm blocking a field goal, and people were criticizing Bill Belichick, for leaving him in, and the game was already decided. And his response was, well, just let me know which play he's going to get hurt on, and I won't put him in. But people saying like, okay, why is Penei Sewell still in at the end of a 52-6 game? He's so important to your, team to go win a Super Bowl. Do you think it's important though to keep your pedal to the metal and keep your identity as a team on the field, and therefore like that's not a question? Or is there a point where it's like, hey Dan, let's take this guy out. We need him for that Super Bowl run.
You know what I think when it comes to offensive linemen, you don't just have 12 offensive linemen that you dress every game. So who are you going to replace him with? And if you take Penei Sewell out and the person that replaces him isn't as good, or Jacksonville gets a pass rush and Jared Goff gets hurt, now you have a bigger problem on your hands. So when it comes to offensive line, I keep those guys in there. But when it comes to the skill players and Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jameson Williams, whatever it may be, you want to take the running backs out, fine. You want to get some younger running backs carries that don't have the mileage on their legs, yeah, put them in there. But you only dress 53 players. You have 53 players, so you dress 46, right? Or 47, whatever it may be. So you can't just take people out of the game. This isn't college or this isn't high school where you have 100 people dressed on the sideline. So yeah, Dan's got to be smart about it, but the injury rate in the NFL is 100%. So people are going to get hurt. We tackle and we run into each other, and it just is what it is. I think that's a great response by Bill Belichick. Yeah, let me know what play he's going to get hurt on, and then I'll take him out for that play. You don't know. So what are we talking about?
That was an awesome quote.
Yeah.
So we might as well just kick off with shout outs, because the Lions obviously deserve one. Everyone affiliated with that. Jared Goff, a couple weeks ago, your MVP leading candidate. He bounces back from that 5 interception performance, 412, 4 touchdowns, but a lot of elite, great performances this week around the NFL individually. Where would you like to start on our shout outs this week?
Oh, my first shout out will be to Bo Nix again. 28 for 33, over 300 yards passing, is now closed the gap in terms of the Rookie of the Year race with Jaden Daniels, playing some incredible football. So my shout out goes to him in terms of beating a good Atlanta Falcons team who's actually winning the NFC South. And then another shout out would be on the same team, which would be head coach Sean Payton. He got a lot of flack for everything that went on with Russell Wilson last year, and is Bo Nix the guy early on in the season? And Bo has gotten better every week. They should have won a game against Kansas City. Bo continues to play well and continues to get better. And then also Sean sweeping his former division. I mean, Carolina, Atlanta, and New Orleans.
Oh, good
going
point.
Down there, and Tampa Bay, going down there to those teams, not going down there and going to those teams, but going to those and playing those teams and beating those teams handily. Sean still has his post on the NFC South and is still the king of the NFC South, even though he's in the AFC. So shout out to Sean Payton and shout out to Bo Nix in terms of their play, their call playing, their play calling ability. So shout out to those guys.
No, for sure. Yeah, Bo Nix is on my list too. Let me ask you a question about coaches for a second, because you mentioned Peyton. Absolutely right. He deserves one as well. As a player, so last year in the hiring cycle, in a lot of ways, the NFL kept going younger and less experienced. And there were coaches on the outside looking in who had a lot more games and playoff appearances and things under their belts. And owners are they're looking for, the next young offensive play caller that could be their coach for the next 20 years, whatever. I'm just curious as a player, when you look at the front of the room and you see a Jim Harbaugh or a Sean Payton, and forget Andy Reid, obviously, but just the idea that they have so much tread on their tires and they can offer you like, hey, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, we played this team and this is how they like to be. This is their identity, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, for example. And this is how we attack them. And like, does that wealth of knowledge as a player instill more confidence and translate in your mind to a better overall operation? Because I asked this question because, right now, to me, it's not a coincidence that Denver with Sean Payton and the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh, obviously in the same division as well. These teams with some good talent on their rosters, but not dramatic differences in what they've added to their team on the field, have suddenly become really good teams. So I just put it to you, like, does that experience And does that type of leadership from a Harbaugh or Payton matter and translate better than, let's say, a young, late 30s, early 40s something coach finding his way trying to lead you?
I think it really just depends on the situation when it comes to coaching, but there is no substitute for experience. When you look at young coaches, you can look at a Sean McVay or a Kevin O'Connell. Those guys have done really well. A Kyle Shanahan done really well. When you're thinking about a situation where there is a young quarterback coming into the fold, whether it's in Denver or whether it's in Washington, you need a veteran coach like a Dan Quinn or a Sean Payton, or you have a Herbert right there, and you have a Jim Harbaugh coming into the situation. There is no substitute for experience. And if I was a owner, I would hire a guy like a Sean Payton or a Jim Harbaugh because they do have that experience. They have seen these things, but they know how to institutionalize the process in terms of how do we build this roster from start to finish? How do we put the complementary players around this quarterback to be successful? And sometimes they're going to make, and they're not afraid to make the unpopular decision, getting rid of the Russell Wilson or letting a Keenan Allen or a Mike Williams go in free agency because they want to use the dollars elsewhere, or, hey, we want to restructure these certain contracts. So yeah, there is no substitute for experience. And that's what you're seeing with these coaches. And I think some of these owners need to pay attention to that. And I think that's something that Chicago should pay attention to. I think that's something that the Colts should pay attention to, is that in the offseason, if you're going to fire or let your coaches go, who is going to be the more veteran voice in this locker room that can help these people move forward and these players move forward? It's no coincidence that you're going to start to see Bo Nix even continue his trajectory to go up, Jaden Daniels for his trajectory to go up, and you'll see it in between years 1 and 2. Dramatically in the offseason, coming back with the same offense, coming back with the same offensive coordinator. I think when you look at a Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, and now in this day and age, Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow in his first couple years, they had the same offense coordinator. They're calling the same plays. They're running the same formations. You can see that camaraderie and you could see their progressions within the offense because they are in the same system. They are listening to the same voice, and it's a voice that they can respect, and it's a voice that has been around the NFL. When you have a young coach that comes in there that tries to be too cool, players think that you're their friend and like, oh yeah, we can shoot the shit and we can talk back and forth and yeah, we're buddies. With Sean or Jim Harbaugh, you know where the hierarchy is in terms of, hey, this is how it's going to go and this is how it's going to be.
One interesting thing about the Broncos too is that, the more you're around sports, the more you remember or you notice that, and this goes to basketball, this goes to hockey, baseball, whatever. There's the good teams that matters as far as power rankings, whatever, but it also matters more than anything, in my opinion. The Denver Broncos are getting better, late in the season, the teams that start ascending and showing you, okay, yeah, we might not be the best team in the league. We might not even be top 3 or 4. But we're playing better football on Thanksgiving than we did on Halloween. We're playing better football in Christmas than we did on Thanksgiving. And, you could put the Arizona Cardinals in that bucket. You could put the Denver Broncos in that bucket. Even the Pittsburgh Steelers, beating the Baltimore Ravens. These are teams that I think you have to remember, like when they're getting better late and other teams are not, when they meet up in the postseason, these are teams that are humming on all cylinders. And that's where you see the upsets, or people say, where did this come from? Well, it started here, in early November, late October, when they kept kind of going on the up and up. I want to give a shout out to running backs, and I want to name 2 in particular, where just like Bo Nix, I feel like we're mentioning Saquon Barkley every week, but we have to mention him again, especially with the egg he's throwing on the Giants' face week in and week out. He's back in the MVP conversation. And frankly, Benny, as special as he looks, and you always bring up the Penn State numbers, and you were absolutely right about that. You called that at the beginning of the season. He just looks like he's at another level. And another guy I want to throw into that bucket after watching him on Monday Night Football was Joe Mixon. I mean, Benny, Joe Mixon is a guy, I know he's not 40 years old or anything, but here's a guy who was on a Bengals offense that just decided, yeah, we're not going to pay this guy. Like he's not the same player he used to be. He is taunting Cowboys defenders mid-play as he's running around them and bouncing off of them into the end zone. There's got to be something about the modern game right now where the running backs are kind of coming back. The running game is coming back a little bit, but I think both of these guys deserve big time shout outs. What do you think about their 2 weeks?
I think, I do agree with you that the running back position is definitely coming back, and it's coming back at a premium. And I think, when you think about a Joe Mixon or you think about a Saquon Barkley, number one, they can run in between the tackles. And then number two, they're great in the pass game. And number three, they're great at picking up blocks. So you can use them in so many different ways, and they are becoming incredible weapons. And what Joe Mixon did on Monday Night Football, and the toughness and tenacity and culture that he is bringing to that Houston Texans run game is incredible. And I think you're seeing that with Saquon as well, getting behind his pads, the incredible plays that he's making. But when you add such a dynamic player like a Saquon to an offense that was already high powered, but was missing that home run ability, just look what he did against Washington. And, he gets a toss, cuts it back, and then takes it to the house. He has home run ability still. And Saquon can play like this for the next 4 to 5 years easily in terms of his dynamic ability, because he is that type of athlete. Now, I know we see a lot of running backs, they do fall off at a certain age, but Saquon isn't like a lot of running backs in terms of his dynamic ability and the type of athlete that he is. We don't see a lot of athletes at the running back position like that. We have some incredible running backs, but in terms of the dynamic ability, the jumping over people backwards, just the odd playmaking ability that he does have, and the overall raw athleticism, we don't see a lot of that. And if he continues to take care of his body like he is, we'll continue to see this for the next couple of years. And I think he will, because like you said, I think he's a mature player. I think he's a mature teammate. He was young when he got to New York. Number 2 overall pick, but I think it's totally different now in terms of who he is, the way he's approaching things. And, he's playing for a Hall of Fame career. There are people who are playing in the NFL because they love football and they want to be incredible players. And there are people who are playing for legacy and Hall of Fame and gold jackets. Saquon's that type of talent.
I love where you're going with that. And, Benny, we're at the point, he's playing so well and has made such a difference in Philadelphia. The conversation in Philadelphia now is about, hey, should we stop taking touchdowns away from Saquon with the tush push? Like, that's all they have to talk about right now, because it's basically, hey, he either gets in or he's at the one and Jalen Hurts scores. But I remember going back to when they embarrassed the Giants here. I was talking to Saquon in the locker room afterwards about, like, what were you chirping at the Giants there? He was yelling to the Giants defenders, we're running the tush push right now. It's coming. You're not going to stop it. And, it's so that was the Giants that day, but it's going to be another team the next day. This is what he gives them, is not only everything you just said from a leadership and talent standpoint, it's also this kind of confidence, not bravado, but it's a confidence that they have the highest level talent on the field. And so if they're on the field lining up against your best 11, you're not going to stop them. Not sure if you have any other shout outs for me. I do have some frauds I want to point out. So anyone else you want to kind of tip?
Got to shout out Josh Allen.
Good point.
What an incredible win. Does he now put himself at the top of the MVP race? They're 9-2, beating a Kansas City team and beating them late. And then with the run on 4th and 2, Josh Allen continues to show, number one, his incredible talent. I think he is better. I don't know if I said this at the beginning of the year, but I think he will continue to be a better quarterback now that you don't have to have a Stephon Diggs on the team in terms of you have to find him or throw him the ball. Not saying that Stephon Diggs is a cancer to that team, but when you have such an incredible personality and you have this, I want the ball, I know I can make the play, throw me the ball, throw me the ball, throw me the ball, it makes things awkward for the quarterback. Now the quarterback has to look for you every time. And I think Josh is doing it receiver by committee, and people who are younger, who don't have that bravado to ask for the ball every play, and he's going to spread the ball around, and then he's going to be able to make plays with his legs. And, Josh, when he starts running the ball, he runs the ball like a running back, and he runs it recklessly. And so shout out to him. They're half a game back of the Kansas City Chiefs, and if they get home field advantage again, it could be tough for Kansas City to go back there and win. So Kansas City has to make sure they do whatever they can to continue to stay at the top of the AFC race.
That's a great point. And yeah, you're right. We do have to shout out Josh, arguably the biggest and best and most impressive win of the weekend. Benny, I also want to talk too, not to take anything away from Buffalo, because McDermott and the Bills defense, they always get criticized for not getting it done. So they finally get it done. It's not fair to just say, man, the Chiefs don't look very good. But everything looks painful about how the Chiefs have to create offense right now. I mean, I don't know if DeAndre Hopkins has it in him to be like a 12 target guy. If I'm Andy Reid right now, he doesn't get the ball enough, number one. I know he just got to the team, but he's got to get the ball more. And maybe Pacheco coming back eventually changes things for them. And I know they're terrific situationally. So I know that Spags and Andy Reid and Mahomes, you take those three and you put them up against everybody for a 1-win elimination in the playoffs. I mean, that's why they're going for a three-peat. So I'm not ruling them out from the three-peat here. It's not what I'm doing. It just looks so hard for them. And I'm trying to project them now winning in the playoffs. Let's say they have to play, the Steelers, the Bills, and the Lions. And, maybe you're adding a fourth game to that if they're not getting the bye, the home field, or whatever it is. Can they do it? Like, are you concerned about their ability to win so many close games with so many slim margins for error when, as special as Mahomes is, and he makes that touchdown throw in the back of the end zone, late, as special as he is, it just, you never see a team that can't create offense on its own win.
I am concerned in terms of Kansas City. I'm concerned for their offensive line. Every time Patrick is dropping back, he is looking at the left tackle to see if he's going to have enough time to throw. I am concerned, but I think one of the things that Andy Reid does really well in the playoffs is take it week by week. I think they're still trying to find their identity. And yeah, they're struggling. People are in and out of the lineup. You got people going on injured reserve. You got your two top targets that you thought you were going to be throwing the ball to are not playing for the rest of the year. You add Hopkins in, things look great for a couple weeks, and now you have a game like this against Buffalo. So yeah, it's tough. But if they do get a bye week, Andy Reid is the best in terms of coming out of a bye week. And I think he is the best in terms of, hey, what does it have to do, or what do we have to do to win this game in the playoffs? And I think he's the best in terms of that. And then when you think about a McCole Hardman, or you think about an Xavier Worthy, or the tight end by committee, or the running backs, he will use more of, hey, all right, now we are just going to use these specialty plays. I mean, think about Kadarius Toney and the impact that he had on the Chiefs in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. And then McCole Hardman comes back to Kansas City last year, doesn't make a lot of plays in the playoffs, but scores a game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. Juju Smith-Schuster. So I think when it all comes down to it, they'll figure out, hey, here are our solid 7 pass catchers and skill players, and this is what we're going to do and how we're going to go win. But right now, I feel like they're trying to figure it out. Hey, who, if we have to get into a shootout, can be our best weapon. But, they went to Baltimore last year and won that game 17-10. I don't remember the Buffalo score, but it was a close game. So they're no stranger to winning close games.
Yeah.
And I know that, right now they're just taking a pulse of, okay, how did we play against the Ravens? We got the film for that. How do we play against the Buffaloes? We got the film for that.
Oh, they're setting it up.
What did they do? All they're doing is they're just taking all the inventory in. They don't have that. They do need to start playing better post Thanksgiving. I mean, these next 7 weeks, we need to start to see an uptick in Patrick Mahomes' play and the running game and who they are and the identity. But in a 1-game elimination, I will still take them, especially if they have home field.
Man, oh man. Yeah, that's a scary thought, them gathering the film saying, yeah, we might have lost today, but we'll see you again. Another quick shout out I just want to give Geno Smith. I mean, he's been up and down this year, but I just continue to love seeing him, be a high to mid-level NFL starting quarterback after being written off. I love those kinds of stories. Same way Sam Darnold's kind of bouncing back in Minnesota right now. I was knocked on the floor that the Niners lost this game. I'll admit that. Yeah. I mean, I thought they were going to cover this game easily. So maybe we could talk more about that. Shout out to Geno, though, for the game-winning drive in the final minute. But yeah, maybe we
Gino
talk.
and the night celebration. He hit the Steph Curry night celebration.
He did. Gino's the man. So, yeah, so credit to him, obviously up there in passing yards and even in a tough season, pressing on. And really, like, I've been out there for several games now the last couple of years when the Giants go out there. He's a leader, man. Like the team responds to him. They're confident in him. Like the way New York talks about him is old and outdated when it comes to who he is and what player he is. But maybe it bears mentioning or talking more about what we saw from the Niners this week. Because Benny, you mentioned it last week, and I totally agreed with you. It was like, here they come, right? Here come the Niners. They're starting to round into form, even with some injuries. You know, with Brandon Ayuk out, they got McCaffrey back, starting to hit cylinders. This is the time of the year they're going to ascend. How do you come out of this surprising loss to the Seahawks, thinking about them, you know, long term into January and trying to make a Super Bowl run?
It's looking ugly right now, especially because they're 1-3 in the division. So it is not looking good for the 49ers. I still believe in them just because they have such a veteran group. And if they get into a wild card, they'll be a dangerous team just in terms of they've been there before and they know how to operate. But, you know, George Kittle being out of the lineup is a big hit. And I always think when Kyle Shanahan misses one of his star players or one of his, you know, big players, it's hard for him to readjust the game plan, you know, because George Kittle is such a huge part of their offense in the run game and in the pass game. You can't just replace that type of player. You know, if Debo misses a game, you can be super dynamic with a Christian McCaffrey or Ricky Pearsall, or when Ayuk was healthy, you can be dynamic, or Jawan Jennings. But when you miss a Kittle, there is nobody that can replace that type of talent at the tight end position. You know, he's top 3, top 2 tight end in the league. So it's just hard to do that. And I think that's where they struggled in terms of that. Because, you know, George Kittle, I would say he's a Seahawk killer in terms of the way he plays against that team and in that division, how he plays against division opponents. So when he misses a game like that, it becomes super tough for Kyle in terms of the play calling, in the play calling ability.
No, that's a really good point. Yeah, they do have a lot of talent, but some of the talent is more irreplaceable than others, right? Okay, flipping over to fraud alert. And again, not taking away from the Broncos' performance here, but 38-6. Benny, are the Falcons total frauds, or was this more impressive from Denver than Atlanta no-show? But you know, I look at them like they've lost now back-to-back games to the Saints and to the Broncos. Okay, their wins, they have six wins. They have 6 wins. Their last 5 wins are over teams in their division. So the Saints, Buccaneers, and Panthers, and the Bucs again, and the Cowboys. They beat the Eagles early in the season, but they've lost now to Steelers, Chiefs, Seahawks, New Orleans. But this performance, Benny, from a team that really should walk away with that NFC South. I mean, I don't know how you can take them seriously after a game like this, but I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting to it.
I don't think you're overreacting, but I never thought Atlanta was actually that good. So
Gotcha.
I don't necessarily see them as frauds. I thought they would be an up and down team. That's an up and down. That's a weird division in terms of the team and the talent that's in that division. You know, you thought Tampa Bay was going to be right there as well in terms of the way they were playing. And you had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin get hurt.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily call Atlanta frauds. I never thought they were going to be that great in terms of that. But I think it's more impressive that the Broncos got an impressive win because, you know, you beat a team 38-6.
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing and you're firing on all cylinders. And I think it's
stomping
more
them.
impressive from the Broncos and them not actually having the hangover from the close Chiefs loss and coming out there and playing with some even more fire to let people know that, hey, they're for real. So it's more on the Broncos than the Falcons.
No, for sure. And like you said, Bo Nix, you know, is he the leading contender for Rookie of the Year at this point? I mean, it's neck and neck, right, with him and Jaden Daniels. But I mean, the numbers he's putting up, you can't ignore them right now. He is cooking, and he's outplaying Daniels recently. You mentioned the NFC South and the Bucs. Yeah, I actually think the Bucs win this division when all said and done. Their remaining schedule: Giants, Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, you know, tough opponent, Cowboys, Panthers, Saints. So They, I think, are getting Mike Evans back this week against the Giants. We'll see. I know he was back on the practice field. They're getting Jamel Dean back either this week or next week. I still like them to win that division out, and kind of climb over the Falcons. But I mentioned them also to get to another fraud of the week and a fraud of every week this season, at least for the most part, is the Giants. And Benny, without coloring your opinion or entering my what I think into this, I just want to put it to you. The news was the Giants benched Daniel Jones, skipped over Drew Lock, and named Tommy DeVito the starter. What do you think of their decision to do this? And how do you think the locker room and the players would respond to that?
I think, they're protecting themselves in terms of the $23 million guarantee, injury guarantee for Daniel. I think, right now it's just super unfortunate for Daniel, but I think what's on the brighter side for him is that, hey, look at a Sam Darnold, look at a Baker Mayfield. You need to get out of New York. You need to change the scenery. And right now you need to just focus on yourself. I would take these next 7 weeks, and when you're running scout team, focus on your technique, focus on things that you can get better, and give the defense hell in practice and just have some fun with it, because at the end of the day, it's still football and you're making a shit ton of money. So, hey, whatever, man. You don't want to be there anyway, in terms of you don't want to play for that GM. You don't want to play for that coach anymore. So I think Daniel might be a little relieved. I know he's pissed and obviously embarrassed because, you want to play at a high level. But now you're like, all right, cool. My time's up here, and, get ready to reset in his mind. In the locker room, I don't think the players actually really care, because it's not like they're about to make the playoffs. I think the Giants have been in this situation for the last couple years and the last couple weeks, quite frankly, where players are out there playing for themselves, which is fine because, at the end of the day, you have to take care of yourself. And right now, the team aspect of things goes out of the window when you're not making the playoffs. So now you got to put your best film on tape, your best play on tape, so you can continue to play in this league and show that you are a capable player in this league. And, it's kind of every man for himself in the locker room. They're not really trying to go out there and get wins now. They're trying to solidify draft picks and play young guys and see what they got. And that just kind of is what it is at this point.
Yeah, no doubt. Disappointing. Sad for Daniel that it's not working out, that it didn't work out, but I agree. That's a really good point by you. The next Sam Darnold, the next Baker Mayfield, plus made a lot of money here in New York. So, he'll look back on this in a year or two and just look at it as the first of many chapters. All right, let's go to our MVP and power ranking conversation. Last week, you issued a deserved apology to Lamar Jackson. This week, the Ravens can barely get in the end zone. They lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who don't score a touchdown. Has your MVP order changed at all, Benny? Is there anybody different atop the rankings there for you?
I would still have Lamar as the top and then Josh Allen right after him. But yeah, those are my top two right now. And I'd probably put Saquon in there as well. Those would be my three. So it'd still be Lamar Jackson, just because he's still, 25 interceptions or 25 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, playing incredible football. Josh Allen, just doing incredible work as well. And then Saquon, all the things that he's doing at such a high level in Philadelphia. So yeah, those would be my 3 picks in terms of that. Division games are tough though. And Lamar, that was a tough game. They had some plays to win it or opportunities to tie it at the end, but division games are tough. And that Pittsburgh Steelers defense is tough. TJ Watt is an animal in terms of how he plays, and just he's such a game wrecker. So yeah, division games are tough. And then Baltimore and Pittsburgh, they always have those types of games. It was like that when I was at Michigan State. I always think about it, regardless if we had a high-powered offense or whoever was on offense, it was going to be an ugly game. There's going to be a lot of running the ball. It was just going to be ugly. Or if we played Iowa, it was just going to be an ugly game. And that's when you see Pittsburgh and Baltimore, you just know it's going to be ugly. It's not going to be 54-53. It's going to be, 18-16 or 14-13. Just that's that type of division game.
Right. No doubt about it. Yeah, I really can't quibble with your with your list there at all. I mean, like you alluded to earlier, maybe Josh Allen has, stepped slightly ahead of Lamar given that performance and beating the Chiefs and given where the Bills are right now record wise. But what I find fascinating about the MVP race, Benny, is that Saquon, I know he's a running back, and I know if Josh Allen and Lamar don't fall off, it's probably going to be one of the quarterbacks. But if Saquon plays the same level he's been throughout the season all the way to the end, I actually think the voting's going to be pretty interesting because he is legitimately at that level right now. So that's one thing I think is really exciting about this year. The other thing that you mentioned about the Steelers, TJ Watt, yes, amazing. Also, I want to give a shout out. I was just looking up his name because I wanted to make sure I got it right. Steelers linebacker Payton Wilson, that interception he made, yanking the ball out of the arms of, I think it was Justice Hill, the running back from the Ravens. That was an incredible play.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the plays of the week, one of the plays of the season. And wanted to shout him out. That was amazing. But yeah, usually you and I kind of differ on these rankings. I think I'm right there with you. I might throw Saquon even higher, but like I said, I think that's where it's trending. It'll be fascinating to see. And then power rankings, Benny. Who do you have atop your power rankings? Give me your top 5 if you have them.
I got Lions. I got power rankings right now. Lions.
Yeah.
Bills. Kansas City. Baltimore. Philly.
All right. Yeah, no, I respect that. I might put Philly a little higher. I do think the Steelers, I had them in last week, and after they beat the Ravens 1 week after I put them in my top 5, I think maybe I'm kicking the Ravens out and putting the Steelers in instead of Baltimore. I know you think I'm crazy. I know you think you're shaking your head.
No, I actually think, you might be spot on with that. You know what concerns me about the Ravens is Justin Tucker, which is crazy to say. But
yeah, what is going on there?
I think he was complaining about the field and the conditions, but Chris Boswell goes out there and hits all his field goals. So, it's that if a game comes down to a field goal for Baltimore, I'm worried now about that, which you would never worry about that in Baltimore usually, but he has not been the same this year.
No, he has not. Yeah, no, that's and you look at even the Chiefs. I mean, I think they're going to get Butker back in the playoffs, or they're supposed to, but those top teams in the AFC missing their kickers who normally in big spots have been automatic in their careers. That's key, especially Kansas City is always trying to win really close games. And then Baltimore, like you said, they're going to end up in the playoffs where, they blow all these bad teams out. They get in the playoffs, they're going to be in some of these close games. If Tucker's not automatic, where do you stand there? It was even funny, with the Eagles game, Jake Elliott, a guy who was money during their Super Bowl run years ago. And really, I mean, he's automatic. The guy never misses. He misses 2 field goals and an extra point, I think it was. And so in Philadelphia, it was like everybody it was a shock to their system. Like, wait a second, do we have a problem at kicker all of a sudden?
Right.
So yeah, that all makes it very interesting. Benny, this has been an amazing conversation and podcast as always. This has been First Down with Benny Fowler, week 11 of the NFL season here on Talking Ball with Pat Leonard on the Believe Network. Benny, talk to you soon, man.
Appreciate you, Pat.
That was another awesome episode with Benny Fowler, Super Bowl champion, former NFL wide receiver. Great breakdown of all the action around the league. We will be back with Benny next week. We are brought to you here on the Believe Network by MyBookie, rolling out the red carpet for sports bettors this year, making you money with our Pats picks and our Giants sprinkles and our props. Jameis Winston hit on all the overs I gave out in week 11 for the Browns down in New Orleans. We keep bringing you these picks. And so here's what you do. Go to the link in my social media profiles. That could be on X, P Leonard NYDN, or anywhere else, YouTube, TikTok, Threads, Instagram, PL on NFL. Go to the link, click on it, make your first deposit, and use the promo code PATSPICKS, and you will get a 100% match on your first deposit of $50 or more, all the way up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. MyBookie, bet anything, anytime, anywhere this football season. Let's win together. Also brought to you by Boom Chaga Mushroom Super Drink right here over my shoulder. It is a natural extract loaded with anti-inflammatory, immune-boosting antioxidants and heart-healthy compounds. You can easily pour this natural liquid supplement into any of your favorite drinks. For example, I put mine in my coffee every morning, and you'll immediately feel the difference. I personally felt a post-workout like energy boost with Boom. Chaga also has the ability to lower cholesterol, reduce inflammation, and improve immune and heart health with its beta glucans and antioxidants. Go to boomchaga.com today to place your first order. And if you use the discount code TalkinBall25 or access it through the QR code on your screen, you'll get 25% off your first subscribe and save order. Right now, that means a month's supply costs you only $30. Start feeling the difference today at boomchaga.com. And brought to you by Estate 98 Coffee. Estate 98 Coffee is a specialty coffee concentrate that's perfect for when you want to make a cup of coffee and skip the lines. It takes less than 10 seconds to make a delicious Estate 98 iced or hot coffee. No exaggeration there either. It's also great for as a mixer for espresso martinis. I know that's a popular drink, especially during the holiday season. And each bottle of Estate 98 coffee can make up to 16 cups. As you know, we do trivia, Estate 98 Giants trivia, every Talking Ball Live, where we give away a free bottle. So come to our next Talking Ball Live and win a free bottle of Estate 98 coffee. First, though, go to estate98.com/talkingball to get an exclusive offer for 80% off your first order. You can't beat that deal. Go get it now. Thanks for being here. We will see you next week on Talking Ball with Pat Leonard. First down with Benny Fowler.